2021 was my craziest year yet. From making $1 million in 2 hours, to getting my pilot's license, to buying a plane, to losing one of my closest friends to a car crash, to losing some of my oldest employees, to losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto leverage trading. I learned some pretty incredible lessons. And so what I wanted to shoot for you in this video here is my top 10 lessons from 2021. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I journal every single day. And every day in my journal, I write down what are the top 3 things that I did well yesterday, what was one thing that I did not do well, and what's one way I'm gonna work on that. And so over the past 365 days, what I do is I accumulate all of that together on New Year's Eve, and I start looking back at common themes of things that I should be doing and things that I shouldn't be doing in order to make my next year even more efficient than the last. So if you stick until the end, what you're gonna get in this video right now is literally the most important and most efficient lessons that I've learned in the past year from journaling every single day. Lesson number 1 is the importance of sleep. At the beginning of the year, I read a book called Why We Sleep, which totally transformed the way that I viewed sleep. And actually, I have a separate YouTube video. You can click the link in the description down below if you want to see my entire morning routine. But what's important for you to understand is that after I read this book, I realized how pivotal sleep was to my daily efficiency, to my workouts, to my relationships, and even to my business. I used to think of sleep as just something that I had to do, and I didn't really pay attention to it. And once I actually understood how it impacted my entire day and set me up for either success or failure, and how sleep can compound over time, either positively or negatively, I started adapting my nighttime sleep habits. And a few of the things that I did that pretty much transformed the amount of sleep that I got and the quality of the sleep that I got was I made sure that I was in bed for at least 8 hours every single night. I stopped looking at my phone or having blue lights within 2 hours of bed. I stopped eating within 2 hours of going to bed. I bought a $2,000 apparatus called an Uller, which cools the bottom of my bed so I can sleep in chillier weather, which also makes me sleep harder. All of my lights turn red at about 6 o'clock every single night, and all of this stuff compounds together to create the best sleep possible, which thus compounds to give me the best chance at having the best day possible. The second lesson that I learned in 2021 is to not let people take advantage of you. Now, I'm not gonna call out anybody in particular, but there are people both in my personal relationships, my business relationships, and my family and friends that have unfortunately taken advantage of me over the past year. I'm not saying anybody did anything maliciously, and I take extreme ownership for what happened, but because somebody maybe, is in your family, or they've known you for a while, or they feel like they've worked for you for a while, they think that they can take advantage of you in certain ways, whether it is spending your money, asking for money, expecting certain things, whatever else it is. And I almost felt like I was obligated to these people to let them do it. And what I realized was that what was happening is they were taking advantage of me. Then I was letting them take advantage of me. Then I was resenting them for taking advantage of me. Then they were resenting me for resenting them for taking advantage of me because they thought they deserved it. And it was this vicious cycle in my life. And then I realized that I actually don't owe anybody anything, right? Nobody owes anybody anything. At least I don't expect so. I'm grateful for certain people in my life. I'm grateful that people have done things for me. That's not the same thing. But to absolutely expect, like, oh, he has money, he should buy the house for us. So he has money, he should take care of this for us. Or, I did this for him, so he does this for me. Whatever else it is, what you need to realize is that those kind of people are absolutely toxic in your life. And the way that I look at it, and the way that my closest friends, family around me should look at it, or do look at it, is that nothing is expected, but everything is appreciated. So that was the second lesson I learned, is just be aware of those kind of people around you and cut them out if you need to, and don't feel bad about it. The third biggest lesson that I learned in 2021 is hire a who, not a how. And no, I'm not talking about a Dr. Seuss book. Actually, this is a book by Dan Sullivan called Who, Not How. And essentially, up to a certain point in a business, you're likely doing everything. And then you have just enough money to hire your first employee. So you hire somebody that maybe doesn't have a lot of experience in your industry or in your certain business, and you get to pay them less because of that. And so you teach them everything that then they do the thing, and maybe sometimes they bottleneck, so they reach out to you. And what I realized is that if you're willing to spend a little bit more money, what you can actually start doing is hiring people that know things that you don't even know, Or maybe they know it just as well as you, but they don't need to come to you whenever they get bottlenecked. And so in order to quote unquote save money, I was used to hiring people for less money and just teaching them what I knew. And instead, I knew that that was actually bottlenecking my growth. That was handicapping my growth because I don't know what I don't know. So how can I expect everybody else to know more than that than me? So what I started doing was hiring people who were the absolute best in their industry. And that's also what we transfer over to our clients. They get access to those same people. And because of that, my business 6x top line revenue between last year and 2021. And that was because I started hiring people who were able to run entire departments and entire profit centers without me and generate the company more money. And sure, they are costing me more money, but if they're making me 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50x that, then it doesn't really cost you anything. So if you're watching this right now, this is your sign that if you're handicapped somewhere and you have a little bit of extra cash flow, don't be afraid to hire someone that's a little bit out of, maybe it's even more than what you technically pay yourself in salary, but if they're the right person and they're a who, not a how, they will make you that return on investment. Lesson number 4 is to only do $100,000 an hour activities. So this kind of goes hand in hand with hiring, but I'm really proud of myself in 2021 for starting to remove myself from a lot of the day-to-day, both personal and business activities that aren't exactly worth my time. For example, my personal life, I don't gas up my car anymore. I don't wash my car anymore. I don't water the plants in my house. I don't put the vitamins inside of my vitamin box anymore. I don't pick up the packages at mail anymore. On my business side, I don't check email anymore. I don't set up meetings anymore. I don't confirm meetings anymore. I don't do a lot of the one-to-ones with my mid-tier clients anymore because I have even better coaches to do that for me, because those are all maybe $10 an hour, maybe $100 an hour, maybe even $1,000 an hour, maybe even $10,000 activities, but they're not $100,000 activities. So let's talk about what are some $100,000 activities. For me, shooting YouTube videos are a $100,000 activity because I know there's a direct correlation with the YouTube videos I shoot and the money that we make on the back end. And YouTube videos are around forever. So the more that I post, the longer they stay up there, the more money I make, and I only did them one time. Creating sales funnels and sales letters like I do for my clients, those are $100,000 an hour activities because I build them one time, I hook up some traffic to it, whether it's YouTube or paid ads or whatever else it is, and that will continue to bring total strangers into paying customers in a certain amount of days. Spending my time finding, qualifying, interviewing, and hiring talent, good people, hiring who's, not how's, that's another $100,000 an activity, because if I can get somebody who can make my business an extra $1 million a year because they are able to do something better than me, or they're able to do something instead of me, then that's easily a $100,000 an hour activity, assuming it takes me a few hours to hire them. If right now you're making less money than you want, it's probably because you're stuck doing things that you could pay somebody $100 an hour for, so you could focus on the things that are $100,000 an hour. The fifth lesson I learned in 2021 is you don't need a reason for everything. At the beginning of the year, I decided that I wanted to get my private pilot's license, and then I wanted to buy a plane. And people were asking me, oh, is it for the business write-off? Is it so that you can travel and go see family? Is it so that you can do more business, whatever else it was? And I kept on trying to come up with reasons in my mind to justify to other people why I got my private pilot's license and why I bought a plane. And then I kind of realized it was just because I wanted to. There was no real reason behind it. I guess, in truth, the reason it was because I could do it, or I wanted to see if I could do it. But everybody else was trying to corner me in a box that I did it for this reason, I did it for that reason, I did it for marketing purposes. And I realized that when you do stuff like that, this is a mistake that I do myself, I start to fall into an identity that other people are creating for me. So they're saying, oh, you're doing it because of this, and I'm thinking, oh, that's why I did it. Instead of thinking, no, I did it because of this reason, or I don't even know why I did it, and not being pigeonholed by what they're saying there. So hopefully that's making sense. But the idea behind all of that is, there's a saying, which is not all who wonder are lost, meaning you don't have to have everything figured out right now. A lot of times, if you just want to try something out, you don't need your mom's permission. You don't need your dad's permission. You don't need your girlfriend's permission. You don't need your boyfriend's permission. You don't even need your own permission. Just go out and do the thing, and then you'll figure out if that's something that you want to do, and maybe you'll figure out after you do it what the reason was behind why you did it in the first place. The sixth lesson I learned in 2021 is to be aware of self-talk. What do I mean by this? Well, most people are very well aware of what they're reading or what they're listening to or what they're watching on TV, but a lot of people, or at least I'll just say myself, I'm not even aware sometimes of what I'm saying of myself. Like, oh, I'm tired, or oh, I have a hard time doing this, or I'm not good at that, or we can't find anyone to help us with this, or oh, this person does this. And what's happening is I am speaking into fruition, into reality, what will become a reality, right? I'm speaking what will eventually become my own reality. And it sounds a little woo-woo and a little foo-foo, but in reality, speaking like that, saying, oh, I can't do that because I'm too tired. I can't wake up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. Well, if you say you're not a morning person, you will not be a morning person. I've seen plenty of people that said they weren't morning people, but then started waking up at 5 a.m. and they became a morning person, right? So even saying stuff, for an example, maybe to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, like, oh, I saw you checking out that guy over there, or oh, like, you know, you would never leave me, or whatever else it is. When you're speaking these things into existence, you know, when you say that, a lot of that stuff comes from an area of truth, right? All lies or all jokes come from an area of truth. So just being aware more of how you speak about certain things. I am hyper aware of it now, how I speak about myself. And sometimes I just have to take 10 seconds before I react to something or before I say something and just pay more attention to, is this a positive way that I look at myself? Because in reality, your thoughts become your actions and your actions become your habits. So if I can change my thoughts, I can change my actions, and I can thus change my habits. The seventh lesson that I learned in 2021 is the power of your own decisions or your own choices. And what I mean by that is that I think that we can all agree that 2020 and 2021 was kind of a crazy year for obvious reasons. And one thing I saw was people hating other people for the decisions that they made, and people forcing upon other people their decisions that they made. And I'm not going to get into religion in this as well. This also reminds me, I'm very turned off by other people who, you know, I believe that everybody should have their own rights to believe in whatever they want to believe in. What I don't like is, like, you know, there are some of my past friends and some people I see that will come to you and be shaming you if you don't believe in, you know, the person that they believe in or the deity or whatever else it is. And I don't want to be around those people. You believe in what you want to believe in, and I'll believe in what I want to believe in. And I think 2020, 2021 is another example of that. You have two totally polarized sides. Some people saying do it, some people saying don't do it. And the side that I fall on is just the side of, I just want to be able to make the decision on my own. I don't want someone to force me to make the decision, and I don't want to be shunned or hated on for making that decision. But, you know, we're living in a time where literally people's freedom and liberties are taken away from them. And so just understand the power. Be, first of all, grateful if you still have the choice to make a decision, as a lot of people don't have that choice. And second of all, understand the power in having a decision in the first place and doing your own reasoning and your own thinking and coming up to your own reason as far as why you do or want to not do something. And I'm not getting political or anything else inside of here, so do not comment down below anything about that. But all I'm saying is either side that you choose on, make sure that it's your choice and not somebody else's, and make sure if you disagree with somebody else, that's totally fine, but you don't make that person feel like an idiot for believing in what they believe in. My eighth lesson of 2021 is to control your environment while traveling. Now, this one is kind of oddly specific, but I did a lot of traveling in 2021, a lot more in 2020, as I'm sure you can imagine. And when I travel, I try to keep my routine as, you know, consistent as humanly possible, waking up, working out, getting work done. And I do think it's possible, but one of the things that was happening is that we were staying with friends in some places, we were staying with family in other places, you know, we were sharing Airbnbs with a bunch of people in other places, either to save money, to have fun, you know, to spend time with family. And what happened was that it would cause me to get off my game. It would cause me to get off my routines. And if you know anything about me, you've been watching me for a while, I'm a big routine fan. I love the slight edge. And what was happening was that I was waking up later, or I wasn't getting as good of sleep, or I wasn't getting enough work in, or I was spending so much time commuting back and forth because I couldn't work at the place I was staying at because those people would be annoyed if I stayed there. And so what I kind of came to realize was that, okay, let's look inward. How can I fix this extreme ownership? And it became a very simple solution. Now, anytime we travel, I stay in my own place. I get a very nice place so that I can eat, sleep, and work out of there. I have my executive assistant order groceries, so it's there by the time I show up. She already finds the closest gym to me. She already finds, you know, the best restaurants I can go to. So when I go somewhere new, I already have an itinerary. I have everything already set up. We've already tested the Wi-Fi. We know the Wi-Fi is strong. So I'm not like last minute when I travel frantically trying to figure something out. And some people might think that's extreme. And some people be like, oh, I want freedom. I don't want to have groceries delivered when I get there. which I don't really know what, but I literally have some people telling me that. But what that allows me to do is thus stay inside my routine. And when I stay inside my routine, I have more freedom. So for example, if I'm not spending so much time when I get to a new place, trying to find food, going grocery shopping, trying to find good Wi-Fi, driving over to the coffee shop to be able to work, driving back home, I have more time because I'm able to get the stuff done that I need to get done. And then I have an extra few hours at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, whatever else it is, to actually enjoy my trip. And as you know, or I know, having that consistency every single day, no matter if you're in, South America, North America, Europe, wherever else it is, having that consistency will lead to massive results over time. Coming in at number 9 is going to be focus. And I'm not just talking about high level focus and yes, focus on, a niche and focus on this. I'm going to talk about really specifically my lesson in 2021 was to focus on the business, because in 2021, I was lured into leverage trading. I was lured into, starting another business. I was lured into creating another offer. I was lured into going in a new industry. And I'm not saying it was anybody else's fault. It was totally my fault. But I let myself get lured over there and I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, an example of the leverage crypto trading. And then on top of that, I lost the opportunity cost of not taking that same focus, that capital and that energy and putting it towards something I already know works, such as my business. So, focus is important, but right now I've learned, and I'm so happy I learned it, that if I just focus on my business that is producing us literally millions of dollars a year in net cash flow, and I just keep my focus on that, and then I put that money into passive investments such as multifamily real estate investing that somebody else manages, or long-term crypto holdings, or the S&P 500. I'm not a financial advisor, do your own research, but when I can just put this stuff in there and I can just wire it every single month into somebody else's account or to some other brokerage account, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to fear about it. I want to put that stuff in there for long-term, 40 years, and I never even want to think about it. And that allows me to stay hyper-focused on my business. And just like the traveling thing, when I stay focused and I can keep my routines going, I can thus spend not my free time worrying about whether it's a crypto market up, down, sideways, left, right, but instead I can spend it actually enjoying my life. So focus, but focus on the thing that's working and take the excess cash flow and put it into something that will work without you. If you guys have been getting a lot of value out of this video, please consider smashing the like button and hitting subscribe. I put 3 videos out just like this every single week. And coming in at number 10, the one that I saved the best for last, my biggest lesson that I learned in 2021 is to invest into relationships. I've been really grateful that about a year ago, I guess a year and a half ago at this point now, I moved down to Miami, Florida. And since I moved to Miami, Florida, I have been introduced to and I have been around some really incredible and some really smart and some really talented people. And in order to get here, I had to spend quite a bit of money. In order to be the building that I'm in and into the place that I'm in, I had to spend quite a bit of money. In order to be around those other people, I had to join masterminds. I had to invest maybe in their business. I had to invest into a larger mastermind. And every single time I do something like that, it comes back 10, 20, 30, 50 fold. And a lot of people are looking for, oh, I got to save my money. I don't want to spend it on this person, or I don't want to invest in this thing over here because I don't know about the ROI. I will tell you this, if whatever you're about to spend money on is going to get you access to better, smarter, and higher quality people than what you have around you right now, it is always going to be worth it. And then, now I'm not just saying invest money into those relationships, but you also have to invest energy into those relationships. So instead of you waiting for someone to invite you out, you invite that person out. Instead of you waiting for someone to ask how they can help you, you ask how you can help them, and figure out how you can continue to invest and nurture the relationships that you have that are new and the relationships that you like to keep on going in any way possible. Because if there's one thing I've read reading a bunch of billionaire books, it is that the one thing that they always credit to their success is being around the right people. And so if you can start doing that early and start putting your money into that instead of something else stupid, then obviously within 3, 5, 10, 15 years, you could have a totally different life. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my top 10 lessons of 2021. It was an incredible year, like I said, full of a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but no matter what, I am so grateful to have the life that I have. I'm so grateful to live where I live, and I'm so grateful to have everybody in my life that I have, including you watching this video right now. Thank you for all the support that you give myself, my company, my team. It is because of you that I continue to make these videos and I get to do what I do. So I take that not lightly at all. And also, if you want to learn a little bit more about some of the things that I did this year to totally transform my life, how I went from just a few years ago to waiting tables in an Italian restaurant to now running an 8-figure business, there's going to be a video on your screen you can see right here on the graph that changed my life. And I walk through exactly how I use that graph to start doing the right things every single day, avoiding the wrong things, and getting to where I am today. I'll see you guys in that video.